Greetings Star Lost Forms and welcome back to my channel. Today is a very special video because I'm going to be doing another Q&A. Now this Q&A is about epilepsy because in May, which is this month, is Epilepsy Awareness Month. So I thought in honour of this I will be doing a little Q&A just to give you an idea of what it's like to be epileptic. Also, I will be leaving a little link which is to an article that helped me inspire to do this video because there was one question that I couldn't answer and I think that's the one I'm going to answer first. And because I really didn't know what was going on, I just googled it and that article came out of the blue. This is the question I couldn't answer before I've done the research and now I'm going to answer it. And that comes from one of my closest friends and fans called Mr. Wee Alex, and he asked me, what does epilepsy and autism have in common? If you're new to my channel, then I'll just explain really. Yeah, I'll just explain. I was diagnosed with autism long before I was diagnosed with epilepsy. Because I've known my autism before I got to know my epilepsy, I've just got used to the fact that I was just autistic, end of. But when I was diagnosed with epilepsy, that really changed things. I was in a bit of a debate if autism and epilepsy could be related, and I thought them two are just separate. However, when I was doing my research, I stumbled across something in the article that was really surprising, and honestly, I think it's changed my mind a little bit. According to the article, about a third of the population in the world are on the autistic spectrum and who also have epilepsy. It is interesting how autism and epilepsy can be linked, and that is because of the brain activity. There was so much in the article that was too scientific and I didn't want to explain because I wasn't too sure how I was going to put this, so I had to narrow it down. Inside the brain, there's loads of activities going around, and I like to imagine it as tiny little peas going through tunnels. Every time your brain thinks of something like a to-do list or an idea, whoosh, the pea goes past the tube. But sometimes, in order for the peas to be connected into the tube, they must be perfectly balanced. And in the case of someone who's autistic and epileptic, sometimes the peas cannot go down the tubes because of distraction and overload. So basically, if someone gets distracted or there's a bit of a disturbance in the brain or something's too overwhelming, then that triggers seizures. My other YouTube friend, Chanel, has sent me a question and she asks, do you feel differently before you have a seizure? Are there any warning signs? Yes, there are a lot of signs before you have a seizure. However, I'm only going to put them down to a few because this is what I've experienced before I had my second seizure. Firstly, facial twitching. For example, your eyes are constantly blinking, so if I was to look at you now straight ahead, I wouldn't be blinking, but if I had a seizure, I would have blinked like this. The second symptom that happened to me was muscle stiffness. 2 or 3 days before I had the seizure, I've noticed that on my right upper calf, I was in a lot of pain, and that was the muscle stiffness. In all fairness, I didn't even realise it was a symptom, and I just put that down as to sitting down too long because when I do my work at university, I tend to ache a lot anyway because I normally sit down to do my assignments for about 2, maybe 3 hours at the max in between lectures, and that was just the way it was. But I was doing a rehearsal that day and when I got up I was in so much pain that it made it impossible to walk. The muscle stiffness lasted for a few hours and eventually it calmed down, so it wasn't all that bad. Another symptom I had was jerking limbs, and I think that happened before I had the second seizure, and that was when I think I explained it already in my story time video, so I'll probably leave it somewhere if you haven't seen it already. But what I noticed, well, not me, but my parents noticed before I had my second seizure was my arm going up like this, and I was just jerking a little bit and all of that. And also my hands shake a lot, so if I don't have any medication or I'm about to have a seizure, which thank God I don't have yet, I always jerk my hands, not jerk my hands like this, but I feel like a very wobbly vibration in my fingers, which I'm just showing you now. It's not a really great impression, but I was just trying to like giving you an idea of what it was. And the very last sign that I'm going to mention, which I still have and had as well before I had my seizures, was a lack of sleep. For me, I don't really sleep well, and that's in the case of someone with autism, because I don't know if it's true or not, and if it's another stereotype, autistic people don't tend to sleep very well, but that's another video for another day. And for me, that's probably what set off, because my neurologist said to me that my seizures occur if I have a lack of sleep. And since I've been on the medication, I still don't sleep very well, but my epilepsy is controlled, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll stay that way. Hopefully. Okay, now these two last questions come from Daggy. So the first question Daggy sent me is, what are the steps if one person is having a fit? Now, I didn't need to do research on this one because I know this one off by heart, and I know I may say something that's a little inaccurate, but if I do, I'm really sorry. If someone's having a fit, make sure there is a first aider in the room. Under no circumstances should you move that person unless they are in a dangerous situation or in a dangerous place. Once it's all over and they're still unconscious, try to get them in the recovery position as safely and gently as possible. Also, if it's possible, try and find something to secure their head, such as a cardigan or a light pillow, and stay with them until they regain consciousness. However, if someone remains unconscious for about 5 minutes, always dial 999 in the UK, or if it's in the United States, dial 911 or any other emergency services. I don't know what the other emergency services numbers in the rest of the world are, but I only know the American and the United Kingdom ones. And my very last question, and my last question from Daggy, is, are you planning to raise epilepsy awareness in the near future? If yes, what would it be? That's a very good question. At the moment, I want to continue raising epilepsy awareness on my YouTube channel. However, if I get a chance, I would love to speak out for epilepsy and maybe work with a few epileptic charities such as Epilepsy Society and Epilepsy Action. Also, I would love to talk in schools more about epilepsy. For me, it will be the most wonderful opportunity to teach children how to deal in a situation if one of their friends has epilepsy. And speaking of that, I'm hoping to do a few collab courses. I don't know if you can actually do that with the National Health Service, but if it's possible, then that would be really, really wonderful. And that was my epilepsy Q&A video. Alex, Chanel and Daggy, thank you so much for sending in these questions. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell for more future videos such as epilepsy awareness, autism awareness, and all the other fun stuff that I do on my channel. And I'll catch you very soon. Goodbye!